Okay.
Chris, don't worry about it. Do we want to get a new Pledge of Allegiance in, or should we go ahead and call it to order?
Just call to order.
Call it to order,
Yeah.
I think.
All right, we'll call this meeting to order, and we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Again. Right?
Sure.
All right.
All right. Pledge allegiance
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I love the flag.
All right, well, thanks you guys for meeting this morning for this. If I'd have been a little bit more on the ball, we probably would have had this discussion at our last meeting, but the first time of business is discussion of the method in which to determine whether or not we go to 8-man versus 11-man football. I had thrown out a methodology that would take, and the reason I did that was to take a little bit of the being that it's a sensitive subject for a lot of people, is to kind of divert some of the decision making to the coaches and then to the parents. So I threw that out to everybody, and then I kind of noticed there wasn't a lot of unity in the responses that I got. So then I thought, well, let's just have a discussion at a meeting. So here we are today. So anyway, I threw that on the table. You guys go ahead and iterate or reiterate what you guys, or tell us what you guys' thoughts are, I guess.
Do we need to kind of summarize again, Greg, kind of what do you want, or do you want to kind of summarize what you were thinking?
Yeah, I can. I just thought that we could have the parents vote again, and then the parents would be voting for the kids, and then the coaches would vote, and then if we needed to vote from there, then, well, I suppose we would have to vote. But we'd have clear votes on those two different demographics. That's what my thought was.
So you're looking at not getting the student? So what we're looking at is we're looking at getting a lot of voice before we have to make the decision. Like, we really want to know where to the student, but it doesn't sound like you want to know where the students want to go. It's really where the parents are, like, do they want 8 or 11, and where are the coaches sitting for the 8 or 11? Do I have that?
That's what I'm promoting, Christy. And the reason I don't think the kids should vote is I don't know if the kids are capable of prioritizing the important parts of the decision-making process. I think that the kids will vote a little bit more emotionally than sensibly. I wish I could verbalize.
Yeah, I think it's okay. Like, when we think about, like, our big survey, though, we're asking the students to tell us what they think of the school. So we're assuming that they have the cognizance to do that. Whether it's emotionally charged or not, it's still their thoughts. I mean, we want to know where the parents are at, and we ask our staff. So if we follow the methodology we have for our big surveying for this, wouldn't we follow the same methodology there? It doesn't mean that the students have to have equal weight to the parents and the coaches, but it would be nice to know where they stand for messaging. If they're saying 11 and parents or coaches are saying 8, we have to really figure out how you're going to get that message to the students.
And I think if we're taking it to a vote on Tuesday at the 17th meeting, we're not sure all the parents are going to be there. I'd rather take the results of the survey, separate it out by a category, and kind of balance that out, because some parents are going to say, I already went to a meeting, I'm not going to come to this one. So then if we make it a vote that night, how are we going to make sure everybody's representative? And I don't know if you saw the email, I sorted that survey that we got. We only got one parent coach, and I don't know what level that coach was at. I don't know if that was a high school coach, a junior high coach, but we need more coach data on the survey. I would ask every single one of them to turn that in.
I'm in favor of everybody having a vote on this one. I don't think we've got enough information from parents and the community at this point. This seems kind of rushed. This should have been started 8 months ago. Now it seems like we're in a hurry to get something out there, and it really wasn't started in the proper time frame. So my vote is everybody should have a vote and they should all count.
And I think, I think if we get these surveys back, we would have kind of what you're saying. We would still have the categories of how people are voting. Like I went back and took 4s and 5s for each area, and then 1s and 2s for each area to just kind of see where it's leaning towards. 3, I just kind of didn't count because that was in the middle.
Did you follow through? I did the same thing and then followed it through. Like, what are the actual comments and concerns from the 1s and the 2s versus what are the comments and concerns from the 4s and the 5s? I think the overarching thing is we want to have football.
Right. So I just took pictures kind of somewhere on here. So I think, Greg, we're still following what you're saying, the categories, but I want it in a written format in the survey so we can see. I just don't, if you're thinking a vote on Tuesday, I wasn't strong on that because I just wasn't sure how many people would come to the Tuesday meeting versus that they came to the last one.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, guys. We can do whatever the board decides to do. I just wanted to kind of identify it. I was a little disheartened at a football game on Friday night when I asked one of the parents was talking with another parent, and they were talking about what's going to happen, and one of the comments was, well, they're going to decide what they're going to decide anyway. And I thought, no, I don't really want to be. I've got my vote, but I don't want it to be as heavy. Mm-hmm. It can be, my vote can be less heavy if we include other people in the decision making. So I thought that would be good for all of us to not have to carry that burden. So that's why I just wanted to kind of have the discussion.
No, and I think that would make any one of us disheartened to say that we're going to do whatever we want to do because I don't think that's the intent of this group.
Right. And with this one, I don't know what I want to do. I really read through comments from that survey so far of what people were saying and who was saying it. So
one of the things that we're hoping to do Tuesday at the parent meeting is take that survey information and kind of just share it more with the people who are there, because many of them, if they voted, they want to know what was the results, and actually take the comments and share some, remove any personally identifiable information or names or any references that would let you know who it is.
I'm a senior, I'm a senior.
And just show some of the comments to help lighten or lift the discussion up to say, well, here's the issues that people are concerned about on each of the sides.
But people at that meeting can still take the survey, right? Because I'm assuming we might have some new ones.
If they haven't done it already.
So the people we're asking so far are going to be the first year of the program.
So it would be the 10th graders would be seniors the first year.
Right, and 7th graders would be in their first 4 cycle.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Is there a way to make the coaches do it?
Yeah, we can tell the coaches, we need you to...
We would maybe just do a separate vote,
just
make a copy of it and send it to them, and that way you just have the coaches' results.
Yeah. That'd be perfect.
I get the sense some of the coaches are reluctant to, because however the decision goes, they want to be the coach either, they want to be supportive of the decision either way, so I think they're reluctant to sway things, but I think if
you say we want your guidance,
that's
if you are a coach and we want to retain you as a coach, knowing our numbers the way that they're at,
knowing our size, knowing our abilities, knowing,
and
they know that better than we do.
Yeah, and I know Mr. Rosine has started that conversation with them to say, we're going to ask you to say what you feel is best for the program, and it's, I think too, the resounding thing is, nobody wants to do this. Nobody wants to go to 8-man football, but it's just a matter of, is it?
And let's say the turnout isn't that good Tuesday or Wednesday, whatever day. Mm-hmm. What do we do then? My opinion's we don't have enough information, and I think we stay 11-man at that point and ride it out for 2 years, and then we can always come back and have more time to think about the future.
So if we don't make a decision now, we have to wait 2 years?
It's only on the evens.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. You determine on the...
That's decided for 2-year schedule.
And this should have been thought about long before.
So even if you make a decision, you're, I don't want to say stuck is not the right word, but you're committed for 2 years, and you could go back, but you're
Yeah.
committed for 2 years.
That was talked about the first parent meeting, that, the next time we would have the opportunity to say we want to opt back, let's say back to 11-man would be in 2026. Well, that would be before we've even played a season of it. You know what I mean? So basically, you're committing for
4 years.
For at least 3 or 4 years, and then so you apply for a conference realignment in the even years. They do the realignment in the odd years, and then they implement it the following year, and it's just a constant 2-year cycle.
Chris, remember.
So correct me if I'm wrong, Chris. If we don't make the decision this year, we wait 2 years to make the next decision. But it's actually how many years until we actually switch?
4.
It would be if we could next determine in 2026, we could say we want to go 8-man, and then we would go 8-man in 28.
Yeah, so that's the reason why I think we got to take a look at this now seriously, is because we're determining things. If we don't take action now we are going to have a number of classes with low numbers trying to play 11-man football, and I don't know if that's good for our kids.
I mentioned at the parent meeting that I think every school that's ever done this, it always feels like they did it a year too early or they did it a year too late, because of the 3-year cycle. It's tough because, if you do it early, people feel like, man, we could have played 11-man another year or two, and then if you wait, and then sometimes the team struggles, and now people say, oh man, we should have done this, and it's a really tough thing because of that timeline.
Chris, remember Bill met with the WIA director, and he mentioned that in the odd year, trying to put in a fast track back to go from 11-man to 8-man wasn't going to happen.
Wasn't fast.
But if you needed to go the other direction from 8-man back to 11, that was far more likely that they would approve something.
A
like
fast
that.
track that way. That's right.
track it back.
Forgot about that. Thank you for reminding us of that.
Because the trick is the enrollment of 200. So a school that all of a sudden pops over a 3-year enrollment of 200 and is an 8-man, they may want to opt quickly back to 11-man so they qualify for the playoffs. The WIA is much more open to that than the opposite direction.
Can you hear that, Greg, from Brian in the back?
Yes.
Okay. So just clarifying too, just so you all clarify, the input that is needed. I think everyone agrees. It sounds to me like I'm hearing everyone agreeing we need the input, which I think has been the approach all along. But then the ultimate decision, you're going to take the votes and use that. I think you should talk about that. You're going to use that to make your decision then, or I think it's. We're still saying it's.
I think what we're saying is we want the guidance of the parents, coaches, and I would say students to help us figure out where we're going to go. And I think we also need to decide what's the survey participation percentage that we're looking at. Are we going to go if we only have 10% of parents? I don't think we're going to do anything if we only had 10% of coaches telling us where to go. We need this feedback. When do we have to make the decision by? How long do we have?
We'd have to apply by October 1st.
Okay, so if we back that up, we really need a decision by mid next week.
So September 23rd.
When we were doing that meeting.
We talked about at the we could have a special meeting on the 23rd when we gather for the.
I just want to make sure that was still on our timeline.
How many families are in that 7 through 10 category?
We can find out. I don't know. I can find out.
I know this might be a dumb idea, but we have a home football game this weekend. Do we set up something to give the survey option as people attend?
I think to a couple of your points was attendance on Tuesday. Nettie, I guess it kind of bolsters maybe your thought of using the survey because people have already voted. They have the ability to go in and change their vote if they thought about it and they want to move. Or if you had somebody who hasn't voted yet, now they can still vote. I think maybe that is a good point that you make.
Because if we could share out the survey link and get some more feedback.
We want feedback. Put it out. Talk to the players at practice and say, your folks need to do this. You need to do this.
Yeah.
Can you make it part of practice where I need you to sit down and give us your opinion? It takes, 5 minutes to do it? Not even?
Time making a decision based on 10% or 15%.
I think that's more of our concern is knowing that we have a bigger percentage of the population giving us the feedback. Because like, I'm with you, Nettie. I don't know where I want it to go. I guess I want
Right.
somebody to tell me this is. I wouldn't want this group making a decision for volleyball, for example, without the players and the coaches telling
Right.
us what to do,
Right.
or even the curriculum in the classroom for that matter.
Right.
Like, it's
I
not
think
just
we're in
athletics.
agreement there.
Right. I think if I remember correctly, on the parents section, it was 12 leaning 4 or 5 and 9 leaning 1 and 2 score. So 1 and 2 would be to stay where we're at, right?
Yep.
11 and 12 then would be saying move. So that only puts us at 21, 22, I think, if I remember. That's just not enough.
Yes.
Close to half.
That's
Half?
Yeah,
No,
that's
maybe not a third probably.
probably.
I think it would be nicer to get closer to a half.
Yeah.
I would
think
love
that-
half. If we could get seriously half,
Yeah.
it wouldn't be that
Yeah.
many more.
Knowing that most people who don't fill it out actually,
Don't know.
they're probably in the same. Either way, we're going to play football.
Yeah, I think
Either
that's part of it too.
Right.
Is that there've been lots of emails, lots of notices, but I think that might be part of it. Some people just don't vote because they don't have a strong feeling.
Oh,
one way
well,
or
and
another.
it's like Rick's comment, they don't feel like it's gonna matter anyway, but we need to make them aware that this truly does matter. This
Yeah.
is a big one
Yeah.
that we want to.
We
do
called a
right.
special
That was-
meeting to talk about how
Right.
we get detail. If we could
Right.
start to share that with them.
Yeah.
My other question is, people brought up in their comments, does this make it so we have a JV squad for high
Yeah.
school? Does that make it so we have a C squad? Just because it's less people?
Well, if you're getting
Playing
numbers for the
time.
C squad, then don't you have numbers to?
Yeah,
have
I would say a
match?
C squad is
Would-
probably
but
not
JV
realistic.
Yeah.
would be-
JV would certainly be the hope of a.
And other
Yeah.
schools are doing
It'd be
JV
nice to have a
that have
JV.
8-man?
Of any healthy football program, you want to have a JV program and a varsity, and I think that's one of the comments I've heard from people is, right now we struggle to field a JV team with our numbers, and now,
Sure.
kids are doing double duty or kids are playing up before they're ready and stuff like that.
The other thing I'd like to know from coaches is like, do they know of a way we can start kids younger to help build our program? I mean, that's a piece of the puzzle that we don't have right
Yeah.
now that I've heard, from people.
I mean,
in
they're
the
playing flag
community.
football on Monday nights, and
But
kids are loving
even
it.
getting them in helmet and shoulder pads and something youth a little more like, Glenwood, other schools do it, and their programs got the numbers. So are
Well-
we missing the boat and not doing something?
I think I as a former coach, I would disagree with that, but that's another different discussion. The whole tackle football with young kids, what
I'm
that
not
does.
saying tackle, just, it could still be a
Flag
touch deal,
with
but at least get
equipment.
shoulder pads, helmets, maybe it gets them excited. Maybe it gets more
Mhm.
kids coming through,
Mhm.
There's a
Well,
whole nother level to that. You have to have coaches and people willing to do
Right.
that, I get.
It's got to be a good program to be effective.
You look at volleyball,
Yep.
basketball, our boosters and
Mhm.
wrestling clubs and stuff are pretty active at
Yep.
younger ages, where I think football, I'm just throwing it out there. I don't know if, we asked Brent, will that help?
Yeah, Corey, I've heard that same comment too, and that's the trick is trying to find the people to man that.
Right.
So maybe we should make
Well-
a concerted effort maybe to offer that if we have time to do that, because I'd throw my name in the hat. But back to one of the points that you had just made prior to that discussion, Chris, about us kind of having difficulty fielding two teams right now. Right now our attendance is X. 2 years from now our attendance in the high school is going to be X times what percentage lower. And that's going to be reflective of the players on the team.
Yeah.
Can we get a number too in 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th? How many kids are in football right now?
Yeah.
I mean, we got the whole class size. We don't know how many are in the
Yeah,
current
and just
program.
remember, you're going to lose a percentage
Yes,
of them when it gets.
right. But I still would like that number.
But even like, what's
We have-
what's in right now, they got.
Yeah.
Okay, every sixth grade boy right
Yeah.
now
Right
intends to
now,
play
but
football.
Like you said, you're gonna lose 25,
7 to 9.
maybe 30%.
Well, because they've lost football privileges on the playground because they're already too aggressive.
Yeah.
And
I think
it-
Mrs. Anderson would say the same.
attrition
thing.
is
Sure.
normal, and
Yeah.
Right.
the best program you will have numbers decline.
Just
as they
wondering if
go
we even
through.
go down another grade or so, just to kind of see.
That
That
group
would
will
help
that
for
group will
4-year
say,
plan.
just make sure you have football.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I would like to
That's-
see more information or more people, hopefully Tuesday. And if that don't happen,
Yeah.
then do we?
What
We had a real
Go to
nice
the
turnout the
football.
first time. We had a real nice turnout the first time. If we have
Yeah.
the same turnout, I think that would be. I was and not all of them voted, because there was a good number there. But I think as we sent more and more emails, there's now been some more votes again. And we really tried to lay it on thick. We literally said in the email, like, we need you to vote. We need your input.
And
I know
make
I've
it
been
clear they can
telling
change their
people,
mind.
come to.
Now after they thought about it,
they can go in and hit the link again, and they can change they can edit. I've got it set. I set up the survey, and they can edit their responses.
I feel bad that we couldn't have been there at that. I would have poked my head in just to listen even.
Well,
I think it was
another one on Tuesday.
tomorrow.
So
Yeah.
And
Monday.
that initial one was the initial one to say,
we don't-
are we even gonna? Do you even want to consider this? And it because if everyone there was like, no way in heck, then done.
We wouldn't be saying.
Or if everyone there was saying yes, then okay, here we go. But it was, and what if it's divided? Well, it was fairly split. So what? Then they said, well, what will we do? Well, we need to keep talking about it then.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think we're all on the same page. Let's see if we can get some more. Attend the
And
meeting tomorrow
tomorrow's
night.
meeting
Really
is
encourage
5:30?
parents to come to that meeting and do the survey and change it after they've thought about it if they want to.
Mhm.
And let them know the 23rd we're going to try to look at data to see if we have enough information to make a decision.
And Greg, you had mentioned kind of like, so I was planning to send an email out after the board gave direction to us. So kind of stating that, emphasize, hey, we need you there, please be there, we need your voice, the board wants your input. And that, we will look at, the board will look at what's the feeling of the parents as a group, what's the feeling of the players as a group, and then the board is also going to get the
Coaches.
input of the coaches as a group. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah.
yes.
And then to kind of explain that to the parents so they know going in what the board is going to use as their decision-making process, so they don't just, again, we don't want people to feel like, well, they're just going to make a decision based on their feelings
Do
anyway.
we need to tell them when we're going to close the survey? Because I think there's a point, like, Nettie, I know if I
We need to
closed
close
on
it.
Friday, I know, like, you and I in particular are going to go in and start
Sorting
filtering
data.
and looking.
Yeah. So if we could have it by the 21st, if we're having another meeting the 23rd, right? That gives
Sure.
us 2 days to sort it and read it and study it.
So Friday is the 20th.
Yep.
Do we say Friday? Can you vote by Friday?
I mean, you can turn it off
Wednesday,
Friday.
Thursday.
I don't know how your surveys work, but like the ones I've done, I could say close them Friday at midnight. Just then we would know
It's a
when we go
Google,
in.
just a
Right.
Google form.
Then
Yeah.
maybe some parents could ask at the football game, hey, did you do the
Sure.
survey? Let's
Yeah.
get it done.
Do it Saturday at noon or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go.
Okay.
Because I'm probably going to look at it Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
Is when I would.
I wonder if it wouldn't be a bad idea to open that up to the younger kids, 7th, 6th, 5th, 4th grade parents. I don't know.
Yeah, we
I
sure
heard
can.
a little bit of mention of that. And I think that would be good.
I
That
think
would
if
be a
you
little bit more
did-
community outreach and some more interest we could gather.
Well,
I like the idea of 6th grade and up because 6th grade's technically junior high, so then that's your next group. I'm not sure how much 4th and 5th grade parents are really thinking about high school football at this point.
5th and 6th might be though,
Might.
because we're talking about making the switch and we're only talking to the
They'll
people the
be-
first year of the switch.
Mhm.
If we went a little lower, we'd have the first couple years
Yeah.
of the switch.
I think it would be good. The more
Okay.
you can get
The
involved.
more
so, because so far we've been sending it to the 7th through 10th. Send the direct emails to them, but certainly saying, it's open to anyone.
Well-
I think we have not necessarily said the whole community come in because,
Yeah.
I guess we want the people who have the
Yes.
stake in the decision
Yes.
being the
Yeah.
ones making the decision. I mean, obviously, your average fan is going to have a strong opinion, but they
But they don't have
don't
stake in it.
have a stake in
I like
the
watching
outcome.
11 man versus
They don't have to live with the outcome of whatever happens.
That's why I would say
So-
maybe go 1 year, at least 1 year lower, because then we're getting
Down
the
to 6th
first 2
grade.
years of
Yeah.
the program.
Down to 6th
and we
grade.
should be able to pull
6th
in
or 5th.
I don't know how we would.
the registrations for flag football. Everyone had to fill out a registration form,
That's
and
not
it's
through us, so I don't know who.
Yeah, we don't have that.
Mr. Kamonic.
Yeah, it'll be tougher to pull a database on, get all those
Yeah.
emails put together. We pull off of Skyward right now, all the football team, all the football families. So,
Oh,
but I'm sure there's a way. At least down, 6th grade.
That's why I was thinking 6th grade is technically right now junior high. Because even in our athletic handbook, they could be playing 7th and 8th grade if we needed them to.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So that would make sense.
So state that we'll close the survey Saturday at noon and send it to the 6th grade players and families on up through 10th grade. Obviously, 11th and 12th families, if they want to come and be part of the meeting, they're certainly welcome to do so. But we're going to email it directly to.
Yep.
That's what we've been doing. Does that sound fair?
Yep.
Okay. Does that sound reasonable?
I think this is a way too for the community to learn. We are looking for input from them. You know, it's not just this topic.
Yeah.
The next time we do something,
Right.
it's not just us just making these big decisions. We want to hear from people.
Yeah.
And I think this reinforces that.
And I'll share with all of you so you've seen, like all the emails that have gone out, we kind of have them, we drafted them on a Google Doc and then copy paste. So I want to share them with all of you so you can see everything that's been sent out on what dates. And that first meeting, again, it was more like, let's take a little test in the parents and say, do we even want to look at this? So.
Well, yeah, because if you would have got a resounding no, there's no sense in
we'd have
moving
just
forward.
dropped it right there.
Right.
So I've got a couple of questions. I don't know, I was at the first meeting, but I didn't pay attention to who was there. But if any of us board members weren't there, I wonder if we could send that data that was presented by Dale out so you guys kind of have an attendance, what the attendance and stuff is ahead of time. I don't know if Dale's planning on presenting that at the meeting again.
Yeah. Yep.
How that's going to look.
Was going to use the same slideshow, and you guys all got
we
that.
got
We've
that.
seen that.
Yep,
you guys
we
all
got
got
that.
that. He's going to use the same slideshow, and then maybe we were going to add in some of the survey data so people could see.
One of the questions was student participation data. Can we have him put that together too on a slide?
You wrote that down too, right? Yep.
Right.
Yep. How many kids are playing going down to
I think we have it
Right.
somewhere.
7th, 8th grade? I know Carrie was able to pull it last year when we looked at the Dunn St. Croix question.
Yep.
Yep.
We just asked the coaches.
Yeah, because I think that's when we were like, ooh, that last year's 5th grade, this year's 6th grade, it's like, ooh, they play everything.
Even the male-female ratio in classes going down would be interesting to know. Out of 30, is only 8 of them male?
Yeah.
So guess what? 30 doesn't really matter. It's the 8 that matters.
Yeah.
And the fact that if half of them play, you got 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the other question or the other thing that in my mind hasn't been resolved is how do we want to weight the different categories of people for votes or for say? And so to speak to that, from my perspective, I think that we should have the parents vote for the kids. And I can use the analogy of we can't let our kids decide whether or not they get to have a cell phone in school or not, because we all know what their choice would be. But I'm thinking that this is along those lines. And I think that was highlighted a little bit by the data, Nettie, that you put together, was the fact that the kids are all going to want to do 11-man. But I don't think that's going to be healthy for them because they're not considering the implications of that vision.
I think that's where you look at all, like if you look at the participation data, you look at the data from the students coming up, like you said, by gender, even if you looked at like right now in 11th, 9th, 10th grade, of the male population, X% participates in football, use that just to do some predictive analysis of like what are you going to have coming up. We use that to shore up, but we still know how the students feel. And I think it's okay to say that the students is a less percentage and the heavier weight. And I don't know that we have to put huge, like we don't have to say 90% is going to be coaches and parents, because what if they're saying one thing and we're looking at some analytics going, there's no way the future is going to tell you you can do 11-man. You're literally not going to have enough kids. I don't even know how many you have to have on a roster to actually do 11-man. That's how not into football I am.
Well, there's a difference between fielding a team and fielding a competitive team,
Yeah.
Well, I think the minimum is, can you field a team, number one.
12 kids, it's going to be tough.
I mean, you don't want to be like Clayton where they're pulling up from 5th and 6th grade just to run junior high.
Yeah.
That's not
You know,
healthy.
we have to fit 2 teams together, not just one.
Mm-hmm.
We have to have 2 teams.
I think
And the numbers from what I saw when we get out into the future, from what I saw, is we're going to have, what is it, 50% less students coming through our doors.
Not that much. Not 50%.
So to field a team, every boy would have to play?
Female. let's,
We've got that.
like, that would be easy to pull.
Yeah, male, female,
But
yeah.
I think another important thing to consider, and I think we now have a slide for the next one, is the enrollment size of 11-man Division 7 is continuing to climb, because what used to be Division 7 was all the smallest schools. Well, now so many of them are an 8-man, and there's still a pipeline going that way. So as more and more small schools go to 8-man, the enrollment size of Division 7 grows. So we went from the cutoff between Division 6 and 7 5 or 6 years ago was usually somewhere between 170 and 190 any given year. The last 2 years it's been like 210, 211, 215.
We're at
So who we're competing
145.
against in 11-man,
The school size is getting bigger.
That school size is getting bigger because
They gotta pull
look
more.
at the small schools around us.
Right.
They're all, a lot of them are 8-man. So that's changed. There's a dynamic changing within 11-man too that we have to consider.
Yeah, get us that too, you know, get us the last
Mhm.
cutoffs. I mean, that's a valid point.
I know Mr. Rosine too was looking, he was pulling player participation data for Clear Lake, grade by grade, going back, 10, 15 years. He was trying to look at,
And
like,
just be able
see-
to predict.
And to kind of show, like, yeah, what's the trend? How many, this many freshmen typically equals this many seniors, over time, over many
Sure.
years.
Which that would be.
Because the attrition is natural in football,
Right.
in any sport.
A prediction, but my guess is there's a trend there.
Yeah.
It's not a guess, there's always a trend. It's math.
Okay.
So how does the board feel on that point with the kids' votes?
I mean, I would like to see them. I don't think I would weigh it as heavy
Yeah.
and I think the couple people that commented, for the students at least, they're like, oh, I'm not sure we like it, but it kind of makes sense. So, I would
might
like to
surprise
see it.
you.
Yeah, I would like to see it. I'm not sure, it won't weigh as much, but I think it's still good data.
Yeah, so I would too, Eddie, I agree with you, but we need to determine how we're gonna do this because we're gonna be presenting it in an email today. So you guys decide, or we gotta decide, what weight these different these different categories are gonna have if this is the way that we wanna do it.
So is like the school board getting together for one vote, the coaches getting together for one vote? We only have 3 votes total? How's this? That's.
I don't know.
See, and I don't think it's
Are we
like.
setting a precedent if we're saying?
No, I don't think we
I
have to
don't-
put percentages.
Yeah.
I think what we're saying is we want all of this, but as we have our discussion, we might need to lean more heavy on our guidance from our. You always lean more heavy on your subject matter experts. You don't have to put a percentage to it because then we're stuck with it.
I would probably
You're
go
looking at
parents,
feedback.
kids, us.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
looking at feedback, not vote.
Well, and I would recommend to the board that the board be the one to make the decision.
Yes.
Like that it's, not, because you don't take a survey to determine curriculum or.
No.
Yeah, where are we setting
or-
ourselves up if we're just gonna say we're gonna start following
Yeah.
by vote?
Yeah, and you do represent the community,
Right.
but you want that input. You want the input from these different groups.
Well, and Greg,
So-
some of us are sitting in a parent seat too. Like we're sitting in multiple spots here as a community member, as a potential parent, as a board member. We're wearing many hats. That could get really muddy.
So what I'm hearing you talk about is, Greg, you're wanting to maybe define it a little bit more, whereas you guys are saying we just want to take the input. Would it be? I'm just trying to think how to craft an email, just to simply say, without putting numbers on it, just to say the greatest weight to the decision will certainly be given to the parents and the coaches.
Yes.
We want
The
we want
parents, the
everyone's
coaches,
input.
and the student data.
We want
Like,
everyone's input, but we will, the board board will highly consider the input of the coaches and the parents with the heaviest weight or something like that. Would that be fair to just state it that way so that it's, I don't know, I'm just trying to find a common ground.
Yeah, and if
Yep.
that's the way that we want to do it, I just want us to all know that going away from this meeting is how we're going to do it, I guess.
Yeah, and it'll be the board making the final decision with all that input.
Yeah.
And I would
Is that what
encourage
I'm hearing?
any of us that know families in this
to
to
be-
talk to them,
yes.
say, get
Yeah.
this survey done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've had some nice conversations with people all over the or just who are on different points of, at a game a few weeks ago, at
Right.
church, at whatever, and some
I asked
parents.
this last week.
And I'm gonna say 3 doesn't help.
No.
Stay
Yeah.
out of the 3 zone.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
No, please. It'd actually be nice if the next time if we had to do a survey in the future, it'd be nice if it's you have to be one side or the
Yeah.
other.
Well, and I think when we started out, it was just we're trying to get a temperature check
Yep.
on where are people at here.
Right.
You know.
And some
Unle-
people might
unless we
not
say
care.
3
Like
is in
they-
favor.
Like they would say, my kids can play football no matter what, so I don't care.
Yeah.
I mean, that's valid too, though.
I think it's easy to base it on the data we get in front of
Yep.
us, and hey, it looks like they want to stay here. or here.
43% in football.
Okay.
I didn't hear
So
that.
we had
Corey,
over-
what was that?
We have 40 families.
I think it's pretty easy. I mean, we get the data in front of us as a school board, and we're all smart people. We can look at it and go, hey, it looks like more want to stay 11 or more want to go 8. And that's how we roll. I mean,
Yeah, sounds like we got consensus now then. So let's go with that. Chris, can you draft that up for us?
Yep. Yeah, we'll get something sent out by noon, I hope.
Yeah.
and
Really?
people that don't cooperate in coming or getting
Yeah.
their input, well,
Well, that's
had your chance.
That's that part of it
That's-
too. Is people that don't participate is kind of like
they
well,
can't be.
Yeah.
And
So-
to your
I
point,
voiced
Corey, I don't
that.
know if we would have started earlier if we would have gotten great feedback because if we
Yeah,
would
I
have
know.
started in
I
January,
just-
nobody's thinking about football. I don't think they
So
would.
Mr. Melberg said just 40 people in 7 through 10?
That's the number of emails that went out, so that would be 40 families then.
So we have 22 parents responding already, so we have over 50% of response. If we could get even to 75,
It would
8
be-
more people would be incredible
Mhm.
for that. And then, obviously, we've said coaches, I would love 100%
Yes.
participation
To know,
in that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Even if you had to hand out a little flyer thing to parents coming through the gate. Hey,
I know,
there's
I'm
a
just like,
survey out
did
there.
you do
We
this?
want your opinion.
Give them a
Late
QR
Friday
code.
night, so
Yep.
then they get home after the game and they go, ooh, that wasn't good, and maybe their mind, you know what I mean?
If you haven't
'Cause
voted yet, yeah.
Yeah, it's fresh in their mind. Saturday morning they get up and just to get some more. We'll
But like
see
I'm
what
saying,
tomorrow-
8 people and we're at 75%, so that isn't really
That's
that
a
many more.
majority. And 75% for a survey is amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah, 50% is pretty good, honestly, as it is.
Yeah.
how do I get more engagement?
Yeah.
That's my.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I think I got my marching orders here, right? So
Yep.
an email explaining that the survey has been out. The survey is going to continue to be out. Please come to the meeting on Tuesday. Even if you came to the first one, we wanted you to come. We're going to share, and this was said in the other email, but this is perfect to have a reminder email today to say, we're going to share the information again. Plus, we'd like to share the survey data. The board members have discussed a decision-making process, and we want everyone's input. We want parents' input, players' input, coaches' input, and then the board will use that data, those inputs, and the data that they have to make a decision with the greatest weight, going with what the parents and the coaches are indicating. Is that in a nutshell that kind of the message?
One thing you didn't include in that you did prior, Chris, was that they'd have the ability to change
Yeah.
or add to their survey.
Yeah. Yep.
Make sure that's in there, I
Yep.
guess.
Yep.
I'll put it.
All right. Anything else, guys?
Nope.
Nope.
Okay.
Thanks for coming in. Sorry that if you guys thought that this was not a good, useful meeting, but I feel pretty good now, and
Yep.
I hope you guys do it too. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
I'll
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we adjourn. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Motion passes. We are adjourned.